Welcome back to the shop here at Basin Motorsports. So today I'm going to take you through the step-by-step process of adding some Alcantech suede cloth that has an adhesive back to my center console in my C5 Corvette. So here's our basic setup. You can see in the foreground here, this is the roll of Alcantech suede cloth. You have the three pieces to the console. You have your front, your back, and then your traction control piece here. Now I've got enough cloth that this will cover all of this. This is their roughly 20-inch wide. I think it's a 20-inch wide by like 50-inch long in American units or standard units. And then I'll have a link in the description down to the cloth to make sure you guys can buy the stuff that you want. Now I've already got everything taken apart somewhat. You can see that I have the armrest taken off here. That is just the 4 screws. There's the hinge. You could take the top off the screws, or take the screws out and take it off the hinge. They're in the tray here. And then on the back side, if you flip this over, there are 4 studs and nuts to take off if you want to do that. So in order to wrap this, obviously on the back half, I'm going to worry about this outside section. On the front half here, I'm going to worry about all of the visible pieces. I still need to take the 2 doors off, one for the cup holder, one for the cigarette lighter, and this pocket here, and I still need to take out the shift boot out of there. And the last piece I'm going to leave is my traction control here. Now, since it does have writing on it, I may actually create a panel here, but cut out a section over the active handling and then over the airbag here so you can see what it is. Haven't decided what I'm going to do with that yet. If I'm going to just do the top surface here, and then maybe do this pocket down in here separately. We'll figure it out as we go and make sure we have enough material. But first, I'm going to go ahead and take apart the center section here and take you through the details of that. Take your 2 doors off and your shift boot. Okay, so this is the back side of the finisher itself. The boots are held on by these skinny little tabs here. They're around the periphery. You just push them in, and this boot will actually push down through the top side. On the back side here, this pocket or this cup is bonded to your plastic. So in order to get the door off, if I show you, at the hinge in the back here, there are these 2 little pins. They're plastic pins. You can just squeeze these pieces here, these little tabs, and this will push inside the cup holder, and then the door will come off. And if you look on the other side, it does have a nice lip on it, so you won't have to do much other than just go ahead and take out your pins, which are these little hinge pins here, and then this door itself will come out, and that'll leave you an area to be able to wrap to on that. Same is going to go on this door itself. It has 2 pins on the back side. Just show you on the side here, that's the pin. It's on the inside, so you pop those out, and just remember there is a spring on the back. So to keep track of that and its orientation. Okay, so with everything disassembled, I now have wiped it down with some isopropyl alcohol. So that should get out any grease or anything. I used some of my wipes down here, and that took it off. But even though I did some isopropyl alcohol, it took off a little bit extra dirt. Now this is the 50 centimeter wide by 149 centimeter long, which works out to like 19.6 inches by 50 inches roughly. So when I hold this up here, you know, you're going to wrap around the edge, so you can lose a little bit. This should, I'm guessing, the width is going to come in somewhere in this range to where this edge is going to come. Otherwise, going all the way down, you can see it's much wider than the roll is wider than the console. So we're going to be good there, but I just need to go ahead and do this. Now I'm going to try and do this in one piece. I don't know how much this is going to stretch. And the concern I have is that you have this door that comes down, and you can notice there's a little bit of an edge right here. That is where your door, when it closes, it comes down to that edge. So you want to wrap the cloth at least to that edge. So as I do this, I'm going to do my best to start at the middle and make sure I feed the mouth of this opening, get it down in there, and then I'm going to work myself out and around. We'll see how this is going to work, if this is going to do in one piece or not. I may have to break it up based on the side of this. We'll see. I've never used this stuff before, but hey, let's give it a try. All right, just kind of show you here, everything is going on smooth. Now, just be cautious. I got a little lazy here, so I got the material stuck to itself, but the adhesive itself is, it's got a tack to it, but I won't say it's so aggressive that it can't come undone. So you can see that it'll pull up off the material, but once you get it stuck down, just kind of work it out, work the wrinkles out. Remember, always pull like 90 degrees from your wrinkle. So if the wrinkle is this way, pull opposite of it. That way it'll kind of spread out the material. And this does have a little bit of stretch. So the beauty of it is really just kind of feed itself in. You can see it's all the way stuck around the edges, and then I'll cut inside a little bit, give myself some area to kind of wrap around the edges. But it does have enough stretch to it that I think it's going to feed down in here into all the gaps. We'll just feed it down in and keep going. But I think you can do this in one piece. I'm pretty confident I'm going to do it one piece. Just don't know what this is going to be up here, you know, where your key cylinder and everything is. So we're going to keep going, but pretty confident we're going to do this in one. All right, so here's going to be our wrapped initial piece. Now I've got some of the openings cut out just as an example. And then I'm also have the other ones that I have not cut. They are marked, so I have an approximate of where to cut with my knife. Now the tools I'm using to cut this, I have a small just knife, and then I've got a couple pairs of scissors just in case. This one's better. This one's got a good tip. And then I'm just using a pen. I'll put these in the description, all these tools and everything else, but these are what I use for upholstery to mark on cloth or vinyl because they just wipe off. It's just a simple paint pen or a space pen as they call it, but it just wipes off. So that's the gray that's on there. You can see here's the manual shifter cut out. So I've got the edge is about right here. So I've given myself just a little bit of extra room. Remember, you can always cut it long and cut it a little bit more if you need to. If you go too short, well, gonna run into trouble. So there's my cup holder. I've got this cut out. I got this cut out and wrapped, so this is obviously my controls. Here's my radio, ignition, and then here's the AC or the HVAC sensor. Now, I will show you this because you may not recognize it in there, but there is a seam between this piece. This wrapped pretty good, a couple wrinkles here and there, but it's going to come out when I go ahead and wrap these edges. Sorry, there it is. This is fine. But trying to get around this stuff, I had a lot of bunching. Now I had to choose. It's either going to be bunched down here or it was going to be bunched up here. So I had to run a seam so I could take out some material and basically get this to seam up together. So if I come in here, the seam, if you notice, is right there, up and around, and over on the edge. So you can kind of see it here. It's even hard to see on the camera, but there's a seam all the way down. And then I need to put in my patch here, right there on the edge. Now I did this for the reason that it is going to be hidden pretty much in the car, right? Because you know, everything on this lower side here and down is pretty much hidden in the car. You don't see a lot of it. So by seaming it here up and over, I felt like that was the most strategic place to put a seam for the pieces and would be able to hide it the best. So if you're going to do this, I'm not sure. I started at the top up here and worked my way down and around and end up coming up here trying to get it all together and seamed it. I would probably start in this area first Make sure we're feeding the mouth down in here so you can get these edges down in the corners this way to make sure we get enough material down there before you cut it, and then work yourself out. And if you do come up with a bunch of material, you can start marking and cutting and find yourself a spot. I felt like that was the easiest place, was just basically running all of the bunch down into that corner and then take off the material from each side all the way around. So again, it's kind of hard to see. And then remember, there was a seam in here, so it's roughly right about here is the seam in this, because that was the width of the material from the roll. So there, and then that is around. So again, you're going to have a little bit of a seam that big to that big, and then you've got a cover in there that you probably won't even see anyway. So let me get these other two cut out, and then I guess the other pieces cut out, and then we'll move on to our next one. All right, so there's going to be our finished part, minus the two doors for the switches that I have in there, and the cigarette lighter opening here, and then the cup holder. I will do those last, out of the last of the material. But there you can see everything's cut out. Everything's good. Everything fit well. This stuff really, the danger of this stuff is that the adhesive is, it really likes to stick to itself. So just take your time. I took the whole piece off, and doing it again, I would probably take off a little bit of the backing at a time versus the whole sheet. Just made it more complex than it needed to be. So take off a little bit of the sheet at a time, stick it down, pull a little bit more of the backing liner off, stick it down, etc., etc. Otherwise, be patient with it. It does stretch nicely. It will adhere well, and I'm really kind of excited to see this done with the other piece. But everything has cut around, fit. Everything's fit well. And then we're going to move on to the big piece. Now, again, this is going to be something similar. I'm probably going to start on the back here and then just work my way down. And this is just going to be the outside periphery, because all this other stuff in the tray is covered and everything else. So I'm just going to cut it so that it just goes right around the edge, down and on the front. And then I'll work on the traction control bezel, the piece that sits right in here. Now I've gotten the second piece done, and it's pretty similar. And actually it's a little bit easier because it's a lot less curves to it. It's a lot flatter, as you would say. Now, one thing I did not take account into was the width of this tail section across the car. So if I lay over this piece here and step out here, you can see that the width of the piece is larger than the width of the material. So you're going to have to kind of do either make a choice. You can either run the material kind of lengthwise with the car, or you can run the material crossways. I chose to go crossways with it. That way I had one continuous piece on the back there all the way around. And there is a seam, if I can feel it right here, on each side roughly. So that is roughly in the place where the seat is. So that should be strategically placed so that it's hidden from view from outside the car. I'll see if it's in when I get in there, but that should be pretty close to where you can't see it inside the car. So putting it there should be no big deal. Now wrapping it around, if I flip this over, my goal was to have about a 1/2 inch. You can see right there, a 1/2 inch on wrap. You got a little bit more there. Everything is good, nice and tight all the way around, and that gives me extra tension on the backside to help keep that secured. Now I did run it up here. You can see this is the armrest bracket here, and does have 4 studs that go down through the plastic, secured with nuts on the bottom side. I did run the material underneath of this. That way this helps secure this down. I don't have to worry about it lifting on the inside when I lift the armrest out. And then I'll show you, I have the front half. Out of the way. I have the front half here reassembled. So the doors are on, everything fits well. It's cut a little bit close to the door there. You really can't tell. I've got it secured down nicely, but everything is good. It fits well. I'm really excited to see this in the car. That's done. And this piece here, because I had to run the material crossways, I don't have enough material for this. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave that as is, not put the Suede from Alcantech on there. And then I guess, you know what, if I decide I really have to have it that way, I'll come back in later and do it. But let's go ahead and take this outside. I want to see it in the kind of in the sunlight, and then we'll get it in the car. All right, so here's going to be our finished product out in the sun. It's kind of a cloudy, windy day, so hopefully it's not too bad, but there you can see everything's wrapped. I have the traction control panel in there. I think it looks good, Bear, because it kind of matches with the console. But there's your console top end, there's your back half, the lock's already in there, everything's in. Show you around here, spin around the backside. There you go, there it is. I need to get this back in the car. I'll get the car pulled out and then we'll get some outside look at it. Looking good though, I'm really excited how this turned out. Okay, here's our finished product out in the wilds. So everything fits well. I'm really excited for that. Look at that. That's all just Alcantech suede just stuck down there. Beautiful stuff, easy to work with. Everything fits well. Everything's a little tighter. Obviously, I've got some more cloth in there. The cup holder door is a little bit tighter to work with. Same with the pocket there, but everything is there and good. So I just kind of span down here. Remember, over in here is where that joint is. So if I flip the seat up, you really can't tell it's there, but the joint between the two pieces is hanging out right there. Good shape, looking good. Really excited for that. And then of course here's the driver's side, so you can kind of sit down in there. The steering wheel's already been done, so this is leather and suede also. This is perforated suede, so everything matches well. It's just a black to black, and the plaid looks great. And of course, it's hard to tell in daylight, but I've got my LED glow trim going there. I think that looks great. Everything's good. Okay, so that concludes the project there of wrapping the center console, the front and the back half of my C5 Corvette in the Alcantech suede. Now again, there are no heat required with this. It is just a peel the backing off, try not to get it stuck to itself, and then just apply it down. Keep the surface clean. Use some isopropyl alcohol. I think that was a great way to do that. Gets the surface clean. And then just slowly but surely, patiently put it on, and everything fits. It's got a little bit of stretch to it, so you can definitely kind of tuck it down into those recesses like I was around the pockets and the cup holders and that. And it will stick down there, and we are good to go. So again, if you have any questions on the tools or the material, it's down in the description. I have a link to where you can buy most of the tools. And of course, a link down to the Alcantech site so you can pick out. Now again, this was the, it was a 50 centimeter wide by 149 centimeter long. That will absolutely cover the front and the back half. And then I'll tell you the traction control piece, I'm still questionable if there's enough material there the way I wrapped it. Now you might choose a different piece and be able to do it with that. Or you can just order a small extra little piece with it to do that. Now they do come in different colors. If you're not into black or have the black material in my car, you can always do red or blue or yellow, or check out all the colors they have there. A lot of options there to do everything. And for my project, this took about, I'm going to say 4 hours total. I did have to stop to take some pictures along the way. Did have to stop to shoot some video. So roughly get in there, let's say 4 hours between taking everything out, cleaning, wrapping, putting it all back, and then everything else with it. So a good weekend hobby or a good weekend project for you. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.